Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Thursday, March 5th, the 11th day of the fast. And I thought it would be good if we went back to yesterday as we heard from the Diary of a Russian Priest from Father Alexander, that very short excerpt that said, "Passion makes even an intelligent man stupid." And the reason I wanted to go backwards is because there's a text from the Lenten Triodion for today, and this would be on most days actually, but there was one that jumped out to me today, which addressed this again about the passions. And from the Lenten Triodion today, it says that, "O miserable soul, abstain from the passions and be saved. For abstinence from food is not acceptable as a fast unless we also correct our faults." And all of us are tempted to think that, boy, if I just follow the fast to the letter of the law and I eat exactly what I'm supposed to and don't eat exactly what I'm supposed to, then yay, I did it. But that text from the Triodion reminds us, no, that's just a piece to this. If we're not correcting ourselves and attacking the passions that we have, then it makes no sense. And so what a beautiful reminder from the Lenten Triodion today, again, about the passions and about the fast. Today, from Father Alexander, we'll hear another important piece about the fast and about the spiritual life in general, and that's prayer. And so he writes that the use of many words in prayer is helpful, if only because our consciousness is in this way fixed upon the holy words for a longer time. Even if we are not completely absorbed in the meaning of the words we utter, but only diverted from trifles, from vain agitation, worry, impure thoughts, even that is a great gain. And if we add to this a vivid sense of no more than 1/100th of what we read, the soul acquires countless treasures. There's a lot to unpack there. That the use of many words in prayer is helpful because that's time well used. Better to be in prayer, even if we're not in touch with every word that's there, than to think of as what he refers to as the trifles, the vain agitation, the worry, the impure thoughts. So having many words in prayer is a good thing, and that is a great gain. And he even mentions and puts it in sort of an earthly sense, that he uses the word 1/100th of what we read. Of course, we can't put an exact number on it, but the point is made that any little bit that we can get is helpful, and that the soul acquires countless treasures from those words. So we have to understand that as we pray, we won't be exactly in touch with every word that's there. But if we can just be in touch with maybe one or two of those words, then that is a gain. And that's a good thing. And it's keeping us away from all those other things that are completely useless and non-productive. As we think of that phrase, the use of many words, we can also connect that with the rhythm of the liturgy as we go through the fast. And one of the shifts that happens is that we read the prayers of St. Basil the Great in the Divine Liturgy instead of the prayers from St. John Chrysostom. And anybody that's been to a liturgy will know that the prayers for St. Basil are longer. And sometimes people even say, oh, it's the long prayers. And we have to be careful as we say that. It's true on an earthly sense. The St. Basil's liturgy, the prayers are longer than St. John's, but every one of those words is so vital and so important and actually so concise that he says, actually in very few words, what needs to be said. Those prayers from the anaphora of St. Basil's liturgy, they can really be seen as being catechetical in nature. They're teaching us. And so we have to let go of that thought that says they're the long prayers and then be distracted by things and think to ourselves, how vital it is, every word that's there. And so I'm just going to read a few of those words from St. Basil's liturgy, again, to point that this is catechetical, that it's teaching. It's teaching us about who God is, about who Christ is. And so as we come to the liturgy this week on the second Sunday of Great Lent, let's really focus on those words and pay attention and strive to not be distracted, knowing that we will in some way, but anything that we can glean from them is, as Father Alexander says, a countless treasure. So let's hear a few words from St. Basil's liturgy. For you did not turn yourself away forever from your creature whom you had made, O good one, nor did you forget the work of your hands, but through the tender compassion of your mercy, you visited him in various ways. You sent prophets. You performed mighty works by your saints, who in every generation were well-pleasing to you. You spoke to us by the mouth of your servants, the prophets, foretelling to us the salvation which was to come. You gave us the law as a help. You appointed angels as guardians. And when the fullness of time had come, you spoke to us through your Son himself, by whom you had also made the ages, who, being the radiance of your glory and the image of your person, upholding all things by the word of his power, thought it not robbery to be equal to you, the God and Father. Though he was God before the ages, yet he appeared on earth and lived among men, and becoming incarnate of a holy virgin, he emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, being likened to the body of our lowliness, that he might liken us to the image of his glory. And this is theology in these words, and it tells us again who Christ is, that he was God before the ages. He became incarnate of the Virgin Mary. And so again, as we get to this liturgy this Sunday, let us not think of it in terms of, oh my gosh, it's long, but to look at it as a great treasure, every word that's there to help us along in our journey. Glory to Jesus Christ.